everybody. I just want to go on today and talk about, as we're going through this narcissistic collapse, some things are going to happen where the narcissist is going to try and give you the wound, okay, before their collapse. They are coming in for the narcissistic wound. And we're seeing this in a big way because this is for the collective, the narcissistic collapse. We're going to see it in our individual lives too, but I want to tell you how important it is that we release the imprint of the wound after it comes. Feel it, go through your anger, your frustration, or whatever, but you're going to want to release the narcissistic imprint. And you could go to Steve Noble. He has a lot of information out there, a lot of ways that you can just do a meditation and release it. And I will be doing something to add to in the next few days of how to release the narcissistic wound that you can do with me online. Okay, what I want to put a prime example of this is we're seeing, so the narcissists are starting to collapse. It's all over this Epstein. This is in the bigger picture of the world, I guess. And it's everywhere, this whole Epstein thing. But they got to come in and give us a wound that keeps us either going to war with each other or, in a bigger picture too. So they're creating this, and what happened a few days ago, they used the eclipse energy of the, you could say assassination, you can say sacrifice. A lot of things show the symbolism of sacrifice here on the Charlie Kirk thing. It doesn't matter what side you're on. There's been an imprint, a soul imprint that keeps you in the chaos, the anger, the grief, whatever it is, but that you want to release. This was done, I hate to say it, it's done on purpose because it was done, it didn't just happen by accident. This happened on purpose. So you want to release that wound. A couple of the symbols or the signs that, say this was done on purpose, and they're showing us that when the Utah governor, Mormon, got up and he talked about how he prayed for 33 hours that it wasn't one of them. Meaning, I guess, wasn't white, wasn't Republican, wasn't Mormon, all those things. That isn't even the most important part. It's the 33 decree. When the Masons use these codes, now Utah is filled with the Mason symbolism. The Mormon Church was created on that. Joseph Smith, the founder of the Mormon Church, he was a Mason. Okay, the temples all have Masonic symbols all throughout. The whole religion, they have the secret handshakes like the Masons. Everything is, that's probably, many churches have Mason backgrounds, don't get me wrong. But I would say, in my opinion, the Mormon Church is the very most Masonic, probably the leaders, and they are the leaders in mind control. Yeah, they're serious. The brainwashing is unbelievable. So that it happened in Utah, not a surprise to me, because I know of people who are in this Masonic thing in Utah, and it comes with, they hide behind church, big church. Mormon Church is huge, but these Mason things are important to look at, so that was a big sign. But then the narcissistic wound, it's like before the collapse, they're going to come in, they're going in for the power grab, they're going to create something vile, which is what we've seen in this circumstance. So it's something that you want to release, the way they put it out on video. So many of us saw the whole thing and were shocked. That was to shock our system, to really get in good, get in the psyche, because a lot of times they won't do that, but they were doing it everywhere. They were showing everything into our faces. That's the wound, for those that loved him. And we've seen some real psychos out there screaming demonically about they did this, blaming the liberals for no reason. We've got the Nancy Mace, that clown. We've got, there's many more. The blonde haired lady, I think everybody's seen, she looked like a demon herself. and her vibration was so low. It felt vile. And this is something to recognize too in this collapse that they're going through. Their vibration, like, you feel dark, you feel sick when you listen to it, and it's because it is a demonic lower vibration. These people are, trying to create more imprints, get out there and just act like a complete psycho. It's probably what's going on inside them, but still, they put that out, and it just helps the imprint of people being traumatized, And the whole thing about Charlie Kirk, nobody deserves to die that way, of course. But Charlie Kirk, definitely someone, a big figure that can do a narcissistic, wound like no one else in this circumstance, and that's what we're seeing here. This is a man who said horrific things about women. Said his own daughter, if she ended up pregnant at 10, she'd be forced to have that baby. He doesn't, he wants to blame women for being raped. They call it too much. I've seen other people. There's a guy from Utah named Earl Morris who was also over a college campus, and he said that, the men need to prepare because women make up the stories of being raped, or however he said it was something to this effect. He's definitely connected to my old story, but we won't do that anymore, or for now. But the truth is, these people, want women suppressed. They want all suppressed. If you ain't a white male, you really don't matter in the America they're trying to create with this new, the new matrix, which would be, take a look at The Handmaid's Tale. Your new matrix will be that, no rights. Unless you're a white male, then you got all the rights and do whatever the crap you want. Which is what they've been doing, but, now there's cameras everywhere, and there's a lot more ways to be caught. You're not, it's not as easy for them. So they're coming in for this power grab. This narcissistic wound is important to recognize. The portal that they use to do it is powerful. You want to, as this energy's here, release it. So like I said, until I get that one up, but you can just release and detach any attachment you have to this situation like Charlie Kirk, because it is trying to get in our psyches and keep us stuck, in a belief system, a controlled belief system, and they want to be the controllers. That's why they did it, they plotted it, and they put it out there, and as far as his wife goes, she was a big honeypot, a lot of people say. I can see that completely. I've seen it in other situations where they bring in a honeypot for these white males to actually monitor and control them. I've seen it in my personal life. They bring them in and use them to control and keep them in the matrix. Keep those white male tight. If they aren't, if they weren't tightly enrolled, they are when they get the honeypot. And, true or not, I don't know. I don't know this woman personally. I do know that there was some narcissistic behavior. I lost my daughter many years ago, and I certainly wasn't up there trying to, I didn't have the energy and the strength, because true, pain and emotion you can read. A lot of people felt like there was no true emotion there. I'm not going to try and judge it here, not my place. I wish her family well. I hope she's not a honeybot. I hope she's not part of the big matrix money laundering thing with her GoFundMe, like people say. But, who am I to judge, I guess. But the only point I really want to make here is this is the wounds that you are going to see before it's full-on narcissistic collapse, okay? So watch out for these signs and protect yourselves right now, guys. Put, love, light, I don't know how you protect yourself with your prayers. Ask for protection right now, because we are in, the middle of this portal season, between these eclipses, and the next one's on the 21st. And so right now, it'd be a great time to release any attachments to this situation or any imprints, and clear up your energy with this, so that it doesn't seep in later, because they're using it to manipulate and control the masses. So anyway, love you guys. I bless all of you that we reach this point of healing, and we bring love and light back to the planet and move into that true enlightenment, not imprisonment, that this new matrix would create for many of us. All right, have a great day. Love you guys.